Welcome back to Crystal Moon Rising TV Network. I'm Rhonda Farah, host of Help Me Rhonda Now, dedicated to opening minds, hearts, and most especially spirit to our innate, our authentic power from within, which we all have. I am extremely excited about tonight's show. It's all about what people have asked me, what those inquiring minds want to know, and my personal heartfelt responses to the questions I've been asked, especially lately. Given our chaotic, uncertain, and really scary times, politically, economically, and everything in between that's going on a global basis that is now affecting us personally, each and every one of us. And I have found that there are some common themes with respect to the answers and the questions I am asked. Those common themes tonight will include counting our blessings and the power of gratitude and the power of forgiveness when it comes to living the life that we truly desire, that life that we want, rather than living life in default mode year after year and merely settling for less. The power of getting out of our comfort zone, whatever age we are. The power of authenticity and understanding what we are most passionate about and what makes our tail wag. Yes, you heard me. What makes our tail wag? Because that's what we are most passionate about. I know that's what I am most passionate about, and that's what we will need and want to live an empowered life. So let's begin. So, the first question that I am asked, and quite often, is what is living an empowered life? How in the world would I live an empowered life? What's that all about? I have a formula for that, which we will talk about in a few moments. But even before we get to that formula, I am also asked, how did you come to do what you do, Rhonda? What is a lifestyle empowerment alchemist? Okay, let's talk about that and how I have come to do what I do in this world. Here's the short answer that I want to go and tell you about today. The short answer is when I was a kid, I used to watch the Bob Newhart show. Does anybody remember that show? He talked about, as a psychotherapist, as a psychologist, what you could do to improve your life. He had a wife. Her name was Suzanne Plachette. Anyway, I used to watch that show as a kid, and I absolutely loved the whole idea of becoming a psychologist, which is what I did, a psychotherapist. A little bit more about my background since you asked me how I came to do what I do. I grew up on the East Coast, which some of you know, in Connecticut, largely in a traditional family and traditional home. I had a stay at home mom and a dad who preferred mom stay at home. I'm the oldest of three brothers and one sister, and I lived in an extended family until I was about 8 years old. Many of you remember that extended family stuff. Lived with my siblings, my grandparents, aunts, great aunts, my parents. You get the picture. I really believe it was there and then that I formed a sense of wanting to be a nurturer, to nurture and serve others. And being the oldest of three brothers and one sister, and having a very nurturing mother, as well as all the female influences that surrounded me at an early age, all totally contributed to me wanting to help and be in service to others. And having earned my master's degree of arts in educational psychology and now a member in the International Coaching Federation, it all seemed to fall together. And most of all, coming out empowered on the other side of my own personal challenges, which included incarceration, cancer, uh, debilitating effects of divorce, as well as financial ruin. And most especially through all that, losing my sense of self. It has remained my life purpose to help others conquer their most negative habits and build new and successful, healthy lives for themselves. So when I am asked, how did I come to do what I do? I believe everything in life, the joys as well as the sorrows, the successes as well as the adversities, the good and the not so good, We all call it forward, and I believe that. Whether we realize it or not, consciously or subconsciously, yes, we all call it forward. And the reason we call it forward, again, whether consciously or not, whether intentionally or not knowing it, is to learn the lessons that we must learn. And the good news in all of this is that we get to decide those lessons as well as how we wish to learn them. So I describe myself as a lifestyle empowerment alchemist. It's an art form. Being an alchemist is the act of changing one thing into something else, into another state, to transmute it into another state. So turning adversity into opportunity, the joys into sorrows, and making that not so good stuff work for us rather than simply throwing us under the bus. That's what I do as an alchemist, a coach, an author, and a speaker. I get to help people see the gifts and the blessings in their joys, but as well as in their sorrows in life. This is essential in order to be able to live an empowered life. Excuse me. Yes, as a lifestyle empowerment alchemist, from my own natural events in life, I've been called to identify and to realize, as well as share, all of my joys and all of my sorrows. And I know how they have, and not only empowered me, but strengthened me to make better decisions, better store choices. Excuse me, and live that life that I desire rather than being in default mode so many times, year after year, settling for less. I have come to serve those who I influence and surround, and who influence and surround me. Chokes me up a little. I apply this to my clients because I get to help people ascertain and know what they want, oftentimes by knowing what they do not want. So, that which we desire equals our lifestyle, our health, our relationships, our sense of self in all the areas of life on purpose. Once we become conscious of that, which what we want, whatever it is that we want, once we're conscious of that, well, that's our responsibility and no one else's responsibility. We are then on the way to the goodness which is ours. Understand a couple of things, but first and foremost, that I cannot want for someone what they do not want for themselves. It is not our right nor our responsibility. Finally, as an alchemist, it's not only me, but we are all the author, we are all the developer, we are all the artists of that life that we choose. I love people that love working with people I do that choose to be the healthiest, the happiest, the most fit and trim in body and mind and spirit, financially, as well as in their social and their love lives, because they choose. Most importantly, that's the operational word. We choose. We all choose. You choose, I choose. So what do we choose? You know, with the work I do as an alchemist, a coach, an author, a speaker, I'm not immune to adversity, to struggle or challenge. During the periods of time where I was learning my lessons from what I called forward into my life, I found myself really stuck. All the abundance was clogged. All the goodness that I wanted in life was absent. It seems that every area of my life was just not working, just not coming out the way I wished. I was not leading the life I desired, certainly not the life I wanted. It was just not happening for me. I was in default mode. I was in reaction mode versus responding to life. And financial abundance was likely the least area not working. More so, my health, my relationships, my purpose on this planet was just not working. So I realized I had to get unstuck, that I needed to go within and keep going within and listening and listening and listening some more. And in addition, I got a coach. Yes, the psychotherapist, the alchemist, got a coach to declutter all that was not serving me so that I could enjoy my joy, my goodness. So today, again, my work is dedicated to awakening hearts, minds, and most especially spirit to our innate power, our authentic power from within, that which truly attends to the agenda of our soul. So now you have the short version as well as the long version to the answer to the question of what brought me to do what I do. So let's move on. Let's talk about how we can live an empowered life. Somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, Rhonda, how can I live an empowered life? Look at all this junk in my life." So, how can we live an empowered life? Remember, I have the formula. I call it my lifestyle empowerment formula, regardless of situation, circumstances, or events. This is the formula to use if you want to live an empowered life. Here's the formula: gratitude plus forgiveness equals an empowered life, life that we want, life that we desire, not settling for less, all of that. Gratitude. Let me ask you this question. Ask yourself this question. Have you really ever listed what you are grateful for, what you are thankful for, from the smallest thing on your list to some of that big picture stuff? I want to note this to you right now. 95% of us, 95% of the world population learns visually. That is why I feel it is so important to write it down. How about taking 60 seconds right now? I'll wait. Write down what you are thankful for. 60 seconds. Right as I may be giving you some clues. What are you thankful for? For yourself, for your family, for your health, for your marriage, for your relationship with others, for all the beauty that surrounds you, for flowers, for the oceans and the seas, for the snow that's covering some of the mountains right now where we are. How about your morning coffee or tea? How about a healthy breakfast? How about a movie that always makes you laugh? How about your close friends? Holidays? How about oxygen? How about ability to help others? How about a relaxed weekend? And there are probably many more things that you are grateful for. So, listing what you are grateful for and counting your blessings literally is an essential part of living an empowered life. I'm not only appreciative for being able to be grateful for the smallest things in my life to the largest things in my life, I applaud it. I applaud myself and I applaud it. I applaud life, again, as well as myself. So let's move on to the second part of the lifestyle empowerment formula: forgiveness. Remember, it's gratitude and now forgiveness. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. Forgiveness is not always a popular subject. Okay, but we'll talk a little bit about it right now. Ask yourself, what part does forgiveness play in truly living an empowered life? I am asked that all the time. And again, I know forgiveness is not a popular subject. You may know exactly what I'm talking about. So today, like that, I'd like to share with you some of my own journey and in self forgiveness, as well as forgiveness of others who have harmed me. The events that I have called forward in my life: some prison time in a federal women's prison camp, divorce, a couple, really messed up finances, as well as ill health. All of it has served me to go within and understand that forgiveness is an essential part of living an empowered life. My formula, incidentally, as a lifestyle empowerment alchemist for living an empowered life, must include forgiveness of self as well as forgiveness of others. Yes, the very fact that I can go within and talk about it enables me to feel no regrets in my life, regardless of the situations, the circumstances, or the events that have taken place. I can honestly say, with all sincerity, when I leave this earth, and really before, because it's like now, I would have not forgiven anyone for anything at any time. I have forgiven myself and I have forgiven others, regardless of what harm they have caused me. Let me offer you a releasing technique that I have used, and I use with my clients, I use with audiences, and see if you may be willing to try it. Today, I invite you to write a letter to someone that you admire, to someone that you love, someone that you like. After you have written that letter, mirror that same letter. In other words, write the letter to yourself to show how much you appreciate yourself. It might go something like this: Self, dear self, I've been meaning to write to you for some time. Now, first of all, how have you been? I want to tell you, my dear self, how much I appreciate you and how much I really like you, how much I really love you for the wonderful person that you are. I know that you didn't mean to hurt me when, then fill in the blank. Dear Rhonda, I know that you were not, you didn't mean it. You really didn't mean to hurt me when you made some very poor choices that landed you in prison. My dear self, my dear Rhonda, I forgive you. Take that in for a moment. Can you write that letter? I know you didn't mean to hurt me, self, when, and you fill in the blank for yourself. My dear self, I forgive you. Next, I invite you to write a letter to someone that you have not forgiven for whatever it was that may have caused you harm. Write that letter. Rest assured, and you're probably going to love this, it's not necessary to mail the letter, but write the letter of forgiveness to someone that you have not forgiven, with however they may have caused you harm. What is necessary, although you don't have to mail it, what is necessary is that you forgive, whether it's yourself or another, in order to live the life you desired. That's an empowered life. Listen, when we hold grudges, when we foster resentment, the only person that we are hurting is ourselves. And that's certainly not empowering. Non-forgiveness, you've heard it before, non-forgiveness, not being able to forgive, is like ingesting poison and expecting the other person to die, which is clearly the definition of insanity and clearly not empowering at all. So if you wish to live the fullest life, to truly live the life that you want on purpose, forgiveness and gratitude are essentials. Write your letters, make your list of things that you're grateful for. Let's move on. I am often asked, what is it that I mean when I make reference to getting out of our comfort zone? Okay. One of my favorite authors, Neale Donald Walsch, in his Conversations with God books, makes the statement, and I quote, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, end quote. First of all, let me just say that every time I do a radio or a television interview, I get out of my comfort zone when I'm discussing some very personal and private details of my life. Totally out, comfort zone. So I'm right there with you, out of the comfort zone. Definitely means out of the comfort zone, makes me feel uncomfortable, although more I talk about it, I'm really not that uncomfortable. to talk about things that no one else might know. I'm there with you when we don't disclose, when we don't talk about things that maybe others don't know. It's, yeah, we're in, why should I, you'd say? This is out of my comfort zone. I don't want to go there. None of their business. Many of us don't even realize or become aware until our 40s or 50s, or perhaps even older, like me, that we have been playing it safe, playing it very safe, playing it small, never really taking a chance on a dream we had. We never really step out of our comfort zone at all. But let's back up for a moment. So, when we were in our 20s, I know this goes for me. I didn't take those chances that all those big chances. I took some little chances, but they were not life changing or even very well thought out. I had a few chances, but nothing changed my life. Let's face it, all of us, when we're in our 20s, we're still a bit immature. Now, when we hit our 30s, we start to reflect periodically what we've done with our life up until the point when we're in our 30s. Perhaps maybe an opportunity arises that would offer us something significant. But it still may be a stretch for us. We may consider taking the chance or stepping out of the proverbial comfort zone into the unknown. But I often had justified that for myself by simply saying, oh, well, I'm only in my 30s and I have a lot of time left to do this. How about you? Do you say that to yourself? In your 30s or whatever age you happen to be right now? When we dismiss that momentary regret, yeah, or the opportunity, and then return to our comfort zone, well, what happens then? I'll tell you what happens. Another 10 or 20 years or more pass before we have another reason to consider something different, something out of our comfort zone. So, for me, after realizing I would really like to stop playing small, to be more courageous and to take more chances, or be more successful, here I am and liking it. Not to worry, it's not too late, no matter what age. I invite you to look inside of yourself and find that burning desire. Look inside of yourself, find that burning desire, and it may take you going out of your comfort zone, from the smallest to the largest. And sometimes the smallest things can be very large for us. I'll tell you, last summer, while visiting my family, one of my nephews said, come on, Aunt Rhonda, I want you to ride my quad. You know those things, they got four wheels and I mean, they're gas powered and everything. So I said, no, I don't really want to. My 13-year-old nephew says to me, you know, Aunt Rhonda, you're always saying get out of your comfort zone. I knew it was coming. I put my shoes on and I rode that quad and terrified in the beginning. Once I made the second round of the trail I was going on, it was like I had wings on. So I got out of my comfort zone. It was nice. He gave me a gift by saying, get out of your comfort zone. Again, how about being more courageous? You will be successful. I was at that point. And here I am now, not only riding a quad at 64 years old, but not often, but riding a quad at 64 or talking about some very personal and intimate details of my life. I'm okay. I'm good with it. I'm here and I'm liking it. Again, not to worry. It's never too late, no matter what your age, to get out of your comfort zone. So, again, I invite you to look inside yourself and find that burning desire or summon up whatever it is you wish you hadn't done or accomplished. That what you desire. That which what you want. Rather than merely settling for less again year after year and living life in that proverbial default mode. How about starting the business of your dreams that you never started? How about taking an exotic trip, maybe thousands of miles from your home? Or how about getting out of your comfort zone and taking a trip right outside your own backyard? How about stopping to wish that you didn't have that boring job that you hate and doing something about it? How about not settling for less and finding your life partner rather than sitting at home by yourself wishing you had a life partner? Sure, it can be uncomfortable to try something new or pursue a new desire. But until you muster up the courage, yes, until you are brave and courageous to set your underlying fears aside and just plain friggin' go for it, you'll be sitting at an old age no farther ahead than you are right now, still wishing you had done things differently. Hey, after all, fear is nothing more than what we create in our minds. And fear is, in case you didn't know it, fear is false evidence appearing real. That's it. False evidence appearing real. When you look fear of any kind in the eye, in the face, and push through it and take the action you were afraid of taking, the fear will dissipate and fall away. And the more you face fear, the less it will surface for you in new situations. Trust and believe. I know. The more you face fear, the less it will surface for you in new present situations. Of this, I am certain. With time, you have reconditioned your subconscious mind, which is really what is controlling 95% of our thoughts, to recognize your courage rather than fear as the norm versus anything else. So when I talk about life beginning when we get out of our comfort zone, I invite you to live life, your life, to the fullest, if you're not already doing so. It took me some years to make this leap and start pursuing my desires. And every fear that I looked in the face and pushed through has given me more confidence than I ever thought possible. That's right. Facing the fears of incarceration, of cancer, of divorce, to name but a few. Listen, after all, life is supposed to be easy. Life is supposed to be fun and fulfilling, not hard, boring, and lacking. You choose. I know you'll all find when you step out of your comfort zone, everything changes in life the way you would want it to be. Most of all, today, I invite you to start treating life like ice cream. I invite you to start treating life like ice cream. Enjoy it before it melts. Get out of your comfort zone. Again, trust and believe, I know. I know with all my heart. All right, let's move on. Here's what I have to say when I'm asked what I am most passionate about, as well as what do I think people can learn from me. So, what am I most passionate about? What can people learn from me? Here are a couple things I'm most passionate about. I am passionate about attending to the agenda of my soul. I really am. And part of that is because I am passionate about attending to the agenda of my soul, I want to live life with those situations, circumstances, events, those people, those resources that make my tail wag. You heard me. Living the life that makes my tail wag. Most of us have had or have dogs. What does a dog do? When the dog is happy, the tail is wagging. Understand that. Understand that. Living life that makes your tail wag. Settle for nothing less. As well, I am most passionate, as you know by now, about awakening hearts, minds, and especially spirit to the innate power, the authentic power within that truly resides within each one of us. That's the inside job. Life and living life to the fullest, living life empowered. It's an inside job. It's totally necessary to go within in order to live the life that we desire, in order to live an empowered life. Now, this is the power within each one of us. And it's the way to a better and a more meaningful life. It's truly at our core, our center to living the life that we desire. You got to go within rather than settling for less again year after year. This year, we're in a new year, 2023. Don't settle. Go within. Go within and understand what makes your tail wag and live it. Rather than buying into our limiting beliefs that keep us playing small, believe me, I've done it. Stop with the limiting beliefs. Who here has limiting beliefs? Who goes into lack and scarcity mode? And who goes into, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What if this happens? Let's get away from that for a while. And it's hard. It's hard to do. These are challenging times. These are some not so good times. You know, times of struggle, times of adversity, times of sorrow. We all have our own going on, and the world has its own going on. Let's be like that humble acorn. The acorn falls to the ground. What happens? Eventually, it becomes a very mighty oak tree. That's that humble acorn's authentic power from within that fuels the growth to the mighty oak tree. How about the baby chick in the cracking shell? Perhaps a little frightened to come out into the world. I would be. Okay? There's power within each one of us, and every one of us is waiting to emerge just like that chick. Just like that chick, we are waiting to emerge into our best life, into our big life. And big is different for each and every one of us. So, in a nutshell, no pun intended, that's what I'm passionate about. So, what do I think people can learn from me? I think people can learn several things from me. Number one would be that sometimes things just have to fall apart in order to come together for a highest and best good, or something better for the highest and best good of all concerned. You know, looking back over my challenges, my struggles, that not so good stuff in my life, I realize that out of chaos truly comes order. It's beneath the chaos and the confusion that something new is being born. Something new is being birthed. Something better for a more perfect, conscious, and empowered and complete life. Something divine. That's the part about things falling apart. Yeah. Chaos must exist so that things can fall together. Another thing that people can learn from me would probably be that freedom, being liberated from whatever prisons we happen to find ourselves in, requires healing, which requires self-love and self-care, the ability to nourish and nurture ourselves. Last week we talked about self-love and self-care. That's something I know that I not only needed to learn, but to continually practice each and every day. My feeling is that, especially as women, we were really good at nurturing and nourishing others. When it comes to ourselves, we just might need to take a breath and remind ourselves it is only through nourishing and nurturing ourselves, practicing self-care, practicing self-love, that we are available to show up as our highest and best self for ourselves as well as for each other. The third point I'd like to bring up, and truly what people can learn from me and my challenges as well as my successes in life, is that regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of event, our life story encompasses who we are, who we plan to be, a hero, a victor, rather than the villain or the victim in our story. Are you a hero? Are you the victor? Or are you playing victim or villain? It remains our choice. It remains your choice. I certainly could have chosen to be the victim in the scenarios and challenges that I found myself in, whether it was incarceration, breast cancer, divorce, totally messed up finances, and most especially, all those not so good feelings and emotions that accompanied all of that. And by God's grace, I made the choice. I managed to find the gifts and the blessings, the opportunity to press the reset button, to peel the onion skin a little bit farther away, and to find my sense of self again. Which, incidentally, let me tell you, it's an ongoing process for each and every one of us, every single moment of every single day. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because if we were not growing, that's a bad sign. We probably would not be here enjoying life and our families and the beauty that surrounds us. So, in closing, here's the message I want to bring to the world. This is my message for the world. Even in these unprecedented, these chaotic, these surely globally uncertain times, with the challenges we all face with social, civil injustice, challenging political and economic times, times where we are personally struggling within ourselves, within our relationships, within our homes and communities, we still have the ability within us to live an empowered life. We can navigate our changing and challenging times if we choose to. Again, this is the time to pause and hit the reset button, a time to thrive and not merely survive. This is a time to consider all options, to be well informed and change course. Understand, we can make the shift together only by realizing the opportunities, the gifts, and the blessings that we have been presented with, even when times seem really crappy. Today, my beloved, regardless of situation, circumstance, or event, today is a good day to have a good day. Today is a great day to have a great day if we choose to. Please remember, my friends, life is like ice cream. Enjoy it before it melts. And just in case no one told you today, I love you and I believe in you bunches. I'm Rhonda Farah. This has helped me, Rhonda, now. And I thank you for joining us. I thank you for being here on our network. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, have a tremendously magnificent and successful day every day.